Jace Rowan stepped out of the transport ship and onto the shining black platform of the Lyraxis Imperial Academy. The air smelled different on this side of the galaxy, cleaner, colder, sharper. Humans rarely came here, and when they did, they were not welcomed with smiles. They were hired, tolerated, or ignored, never trusted. Jace had learned long ago not to expect warmth. He stood tall, shoulders squared, eyes calm as he looked across the enormous training yard. Dozens of alien cadets drilled in formation, each one moving with a precision that showed years of discipline. Their movements were elegant, almost like dancing, but deadly. The Lyraxis Empire was famous for producing the finest warriors among the Star Nations, and Jace, a single human mercenary, had been hired to train their princess. He already knew this would be the hardest job of his life. An officer approached him, her violet skin shining under the training yard lights. "Mercenary Rowan," she said with a sharp tone. "You were hired as an instructor, not as a guest. Stay within your assigned areas. Do not speak to anyone unless necessary. And remember, humans have no formal standing here. Behave accordingly." Jace gave a small nod. He had heard all this before. "Understood." The officer swished away, leaving him alone. Jace quietly followed the path toward the instructor's hall. His boots made soft thuds on the metal ground. He tried to ignore the stares around him, some curious, some disgusted, some openly hostile. Humans were considered a weaker species, too emotional, too chaotic, too unpredictable. Jace didn't care. He wasn't here to win hearts. He was here to do his job. Inside the instructor's hall, he dropped his travel bag onto the floor and set his helmet on a nearby bench. The hall was empty at this hour. Only a few blue lights glowed along the walls, making the place feel cold and lonely, something he was used to. He stood quietly in the center of the room and took a deep breath. Another job, another mission, another place where he didn't belong. But this one was different. This one carried a strange weight he couldn't explain, as if something in the air tugged at him, pulling old memories to the surface. Memories he had tried to bury. A small worn locket hung under his shirt. He touched it through the fabric. Just one quick touch, then forced his hand down. He didn't want to remember, not now. Footsteps approached, light ones, fast ones. Jace turned. A young alien woman stood in the doorway, tall, elegant, with lilac-colored skin and bright silver eyes that shimmered like polished metal. She looked young, maybe 18 or 19. Her hair flowed like strands of pale starlight down her back, and she looked furious. "So," she said, crossing her arms, "this is the new instructor they hired for me?" Her voice was sharp, her posture proud, her chin lifted high. There was no respect in her eyes, only annoyance. Jace bowed his head politely. "Instructor Rowan, reporting for duty. You must be Princess Saralai." "That is Princess Saralai of the Lyraxis royal bloodline," she corrected, emphasis on every word. "Do try to remember titles. Humans often forget their place." Jace stayed silent. He had been trained for moments like this. The academy told him she had an attitude problem. They warned him she was stubborn and proud. He expected some sarcasm, maybe some arrogance, but he didn't expect this much hatred. Saralai walked around him slowly, as if examining a piece of useless furniture. "They told me humans were fragile," she said. "Is that true? Do you break easily?" Jace shook his head. "I don't break easily, Your Highness." We'll see." She stepped back and flicked her wrist. A training drone activated, floating behind her. Its eyes glowed red. "Let's test him," she said casually. Before Jace could ask what she meant, the drone shot forward, firing a stun bolt directly at his chest. He dodged it by inches, the bolt striking the wall behind him and leaving a scorch mark. Saralai smirked. "You moved faster than I expected. Maybe humans aren't completely useless. Another bolt shot toward him. Jace rolled aside, his reflexes sharp, but he didn't draw a weapon. He was not here to fight a princess. "Your Highness, please disable the drone," he said calmly. "Why?" Saralai asked, crossing her arms again. "If you're going to train me, you need to prove yourself first. If you can't even handle a little drone, you're not worth my time." A third bolt came straight at him. Jace caught it with a training shield from the wall rack, the force pushing him back a few steps. Saralai raised an eyebrow. "Interesting." She shut down the drone with a wave of her hand. It fell silent. Jace lowered the shield but didn't speak. He simply stood tall, patient, respectful, waiting for her next move. His calm made her angry. "Are you not going to fight back?" she demanded. "No, Your Highness." "Why? Are you scared? Or are you too weak?" He shook his head slowly. "I don't raise my hand against a student, especially not the princess." Saralai rolled her eyes. "Humans and their rules. Pathetic." She walked away but stopped at the door. "Training begins tomorrow. If you can't keep up with me, feel free to run back to whatever tiny planet you came from." Then she left. The hall felt colder after she was gone. Jace let out a long breath. "This will be a long assignment," he whispered to himself. He cleaned up the scorch marks and arranged the training weapons neatly. He always liked having things in order. It helped quiet the noise in his mind, the old pain that sometimes rose like a tide. When he finished, the hall lights dimmed. His shift was over, but he stayed. He sat on the empty training mat, legs crossed, back straight, hands resting on his knees. The silence around him felt heavy, but he welcomed it. Silence was easier than memories. Still, some memories slipped through. His fingers reached under his shirt and pulled out the locket. The small metal case was scratched, old, and nearly broken. He opened it carefully. Inside was a tiny picture. A woman holding a baby. The woman was smiling softly. The baby had silver-like eyes. He stared at the picture for a long time. 18 years had passed. Maybe more. He didn't keep track anymore. The woman had been someone he cared for once, someone he had met far from home, someone he lost. The baby. He never got to hold her. He never learned her name. He never knew what happened to them. He had been told they were gone. Every night he wondered if the information had been wrong. But there was no way to know. The trail had vanished long ago. He closed the locket slowly and tucked it away. He didn't see the small shadow watching him from the doorway. Saralai had returned, curious about why he stayed so late. She had only meant to mock him again, maybe catch him struggling with a weapon, maybe see him looking tired or weak. Instead, she saw him sitting in silence holding a small locket with a painful expression on his face. She blinked. Humans could look sad. She stepped back quietly, not wanting him to know she was there. For a brief moment, her chest felt tight, though she didn't understand why. She had mocked him earlier, bullied him. And yet, he hadn't said a single rude word back. He didn't even look angry. Why? Why didn't he react? Most people reacted to her. People tried to impress her or avoid her. Some feared her, some envied her, many flattered her, but no one ignored her insults. Humans were strange. She turned away, confused and irritated. "He better not be weak," she muttered. "I don't want a useless instructor." But the truth was, she was more interested in him than she wanted to admit. Something about his silence annoyed her. Something about his calm expression made her uneasy. Something inside her said he wasn't ordinary. Jace put the locket away and whispered to himself, "One more day. Just get through one more day." He had no idea that everything he believed about his past was about to be shattered. He also had no idea that the princess who bullied him was connected to him more deeply than he could ever imagine. And the Empress, the woman who had hired him, was keeping a secret that would change all of their lives, a secret connected to the locket he held every night. Jace Rowan arrived early the next morning, long before the sun-like lamps rose over the academy training yard. The air was cold enough to sting, but he didn't mind. He needed the quiet. He needed time to prepare himself. He needed time to forget last night's memories. He stood alone in the open yard, warming up with slow movements, stretching, breathing, letting his muscles wake. He had trained like this since he was a child. It helped him focus. It helped him silence the noise inside his heart. But today, the silence did not last long. A sharp voice echoed behind him. "You're early." He turned. Princess Saralai walked toward him, her steps quick and confident as always. Her silver eyes were bright, but something in them looked different this morning. Softer, but still guarded. She tried to hide it with her usual attitude. "Did you sleep here, human?" she asked. "Or do your people not need rest?" Jace bowed slightly. "Good morning, Your Highness." She clicked her tongue. "You didn't answer my question." "I arrived early to prepare the training session." "Humph. At least you're useful." She tossed her hair back and moved into position on the practice field. Jace followed her and handed her a training staff. She took it, twirling it in a sharp, skilled motion. Saralai was undeniably talented. Her movements were fast, disciplined, elegant. She had the natural grace of her royal bloodline. But she lacked patience, and she lacked humility. She believed she was the best, because everyone told her she was. Everyone except Jace. "Your grip is too tight," he said calmly as she began her warm-up swings. Her eyes flared. "My grip is perfect." "It makes your wrists stiff," he said, demonstrating a looser hold. "You lose speed when you strike from the shoulder instead of letting your arms flow." She glared at him. "Humans strike differently. You wouldn't understand the way my people fight." "Perhaps," he agreed. "But strength and balance follow the same rules for every species." Her jaw tightened. She hated when he spoke calmly. She hated even more that he never raised his voice. She almost wished he would shout back. That would make him easier to understand. "Fine," she said with a sharp breath. "Show me." She attacked him without warning, swinging her staff with impressive speed. Jace didn't fight back. He simply blocked and stepped aside, letting her momentum guide her movement. He didn't strike her. He didn't even threaten her. He just moved gently, guiding her swings away from him, never losing balance. This made Saralai furious. "Fight me properly," she shouted. "I don't fight my students." "Then stop dodging." "I dodge to stay alive," he said softly. That sentence made her pause. For a moment, she stared at him, really stared, as if she was seeing him for the first time. "Why are you like this?" she demanded quietly. "Why don't you react? Why don't you defend your pride? Any other mercenary would have attacked me by now." Jace lowered his staff. "Because I don't want to hurt you." Her breath hitched. She didn't know what to say. For the first time in her life, she felt something uncomfortable twist in her chest. Not anger, not superiority, but something else. Something warm. Something confusing. She stepped away quickly. "Take a break," she said. "I need water." She walked off, pretending to be annoyed, but her hands trembled slightly as she grabbed a drink from the dispenser. Jace watched her from a distance. She was proud, arrogant, and aggressive, but he could see something underneath it. Something lonely, something uncertain, something she tried very hard to hide. He knew that feeling too well. After a few minutes, the Empress arrived. Every cadet and officer in the yard bowed deeply as she passed. She wore a long, flowing robe of deep violet, her presence commanding and elegant. Her silver eyes were older, softer, more thoughtful than her daughter's. Saralai straightened instantly. "Mother?" The Empress smiled at her gently, then turned to Jace. "Mercenary Rowan," she said in a calm, warm voice. "I trust training is going well?" Jace bowed respectfully. "Her Highness is talented. She learns quickly." Saralai lifted her chin proudly. "Of course." The Empress gave her a playful look. "And you listen to your instructor?" Saralai hesitated. "Sometimes." Jace kept his expression neutral, though he almost smiled. The Empress noticed. "I would like a private word with Instructor Rowan," she said. Saralai blinked. "About what?" "Training matters," the Empress said gently. "Go rest for now." Saralai bit her lip, not liking being dismissed, but she obeyed. She walked away, though not too far, just far enough to pretend she wasn't listening. The Empress watched her leave, then sighed softly. "She is stubborn. She gets that from me." Jace bowed again. "She has potential. She only needs patience." The Empress smiled sadly. "You speak of her as if you have known her for years." Jace froze. The Empress's eyes softened. "Don't worry. I don't intend to embarrass you." He swallowed. "Your Majesty, if I said anything out of line—" "You didn't," she interrupted gently. "You speak with care. That is rare in this palace." There was a strange weight in her voice, something heavy, almost personal. Jace felt uncomfortable, unsure why she was speaking to him differently today. "Please walk with me," she said. He followed her to the quieter side of the yard, near a garden filled with glowing blue flowers. The Empress ran her fingers over a petal, her expression distant. "Mercenary Rowan," she said softly, "there is something I must tell you. Something I have kept inside for many years." Jace felt his stomach tighten. The Empress continued slowly. "You and I met long ago. You may not remember. It was during the Peace Envoy mission, almost 2 decades ago." Jace's heart stopped. His breath caught in his throat. He remembered that mission. He remembered the woman he met there. A woman with silver eyes. A woman he never saw again. But he said nothing. He couldn't speak. The Empress looked at him with gentle sadness. "I was younger then, and I was not yet Empress. I traveled undercover for safety. We spoke briefly, and we grew close." Jace's hands shook. The Empress touched her chest. "When I returned to my people, I discovered I was carrying a child." Jace felt the world tilt. Everything inside him turned cold and hot at the same time. His voice came out in a whisper. "Are you saying—" The Empress nodded slowly. Jace's knees weakened. "Saralai," she said, eyes glistening with emotion, "is your daughter." The sentence hit him like a punch to the chest. He staggered back, gripping a nearby railing for support. "No," he whispered. "No, that's not possible. I was told my child died. I searched. I never found anything. The Empress stepped closer. "I know, and I am so sorry. I am the reason you never found her." Jace looked up, eyes wet. "Why? Why would you hide her from me?" "Because if the Council knew she was half human," the Empress whispered, voice shaking, "they would have killed her." Jace froze. Yes, that made sense. The Lyraxis Empire despised humans. A half-human princess would have been seen as a threat, a disgrace, a weakness. The Empress continued, tears forming. "I protected her by hiding the truth. I raised her alone. I told everyone her father died in the war. I let you believe what you believed, because it was safer." Jace lowered his head, shaking. His daughter, his child. The child he thought he lost. All this time, she had been alive. and she had been right in front of him, mocking him, insulting him, challenging him, without knowing he was the father she grew up believing abandoned her. A pain he never imagined twisted in his chest. The Empress touched his arm gently. "Jace, please look at me." He lifted his eyes slowly. "I know you are angry," she said softly. "I know you are hurting, but I beg you, do not reveal the truth to Sarai yet." "Why?" he whispered. "Because she has been raised with pride," the Empress said. "She will need time to understand. And you are wounded inside. She will sense it. She will either reject you or cling to you too strongly. Both are dangerous for her." Jace clenched his jaw, torn between pain and duty. He whispered, "Does she hate me because she thinks her father left her?" The Empress closed her eyes. Yes. She grew up believing he chose to stay away, and that belief hardened her heart. A tear rolled down Jace's cheek. The Empress reached out and wiped it gently. "You never abandoned her. You never even knew she existed. I know. I remember. And I am sorry, Jace. Truly sorry." He looked away, breathing hard. After a long moment, he found his voice. "What do you want me to do?" The Empress stepped back, her expression calm again. "Train her. Guide her. Protect her. Let her grow to trust you naturally." He swallowed. "And after that?" "When the time is right," she whispered, "you may tell her the truth, or let her discover it. But not yet." Jace stood there, feeling the weight of the universe sit on his shoulders. His daughter, his child. Sarai, the same princess who mocked him every day, the same girl he saved yesterday without knowing why. He felt something break and heal at the same time. The Empress gave him a small bow of respect, something no one in the Empire gave to a human. "Thank you, Jace Rowan," she said softly, "for returning to us, without knowing what you were returning to." Then she walked away. Jace stayed frozen in the garden, eyes unfocused, heart shattered, chest trembling. He felt pain, joy, confusion, too many things at once. He knelt on the ground and covered his face with both hands. His daughter was alive. She had always been alive. He whispered her name for the first time with true meaning. Sarai. He didn't know she was standing behind a pillar, hidden, confused, watching him, just like last night. She didn't hear the words the Empress said, but she saw the pain on his face,